Okay, so I've got the shims still on, the transmission on that collar there, that retaining shaft on there for the slave. Got the transmission all strapped back on the jack there. Put in my updated speedo drive in there, so that guy's in there, and then got my shifter in the right position. And then I just blasted a new hole, just measured back where that shifter is going to come through, and then I just popped that slave in there. It's going to be a real pain to get that transmission on with that on there. These lines will not flex enough, so I'm going to try and line it up like that, and see if I can squeeze that transmission into that bell housing without messing anything up and getting that shifter in the middle there. So it's going to be a little bit of playing around, but those lines are hanging out. One's for the bleeder, one's for the fill, or right off of the master going up to the pedal. So I'm going to have to line up that stud with that slave there, and hopefully I can slide that all in and get that all lined up. So that's going to be the next step. So that transmission hopefully going to be in there next video. All right, so after fighting a bit, got the trans, made it up to the bell housing. So I had to put the slave bearing inside the bell housing up against the clutch forks or clutch teeth there, and then line it up and ensure that I hit that stud inside the or on the transmission itself, so it would line up that slave. So the way I did it was I just got it started inside the release bearing and just kind of wiggled this, and you know right away whether or not it's locked onto that pin. A lot of jiggling it around up and down, side to side. Got the 4 bolts started, slowly sucked it in as I was wiggling and got it to seat really nice. And then as I was going, just turning over the crankshaft by hand from the front there, just to make sure that it was getting onto that spline correctly, the spline for the clutch. So it was turning that nice and freely, spinning nice and freely. So that transmission's in. I had to remove the shifter to get clearance in there, but as you can see, it's very, very tight up against that tunnel, but there is room. I haven't had to do anything in there to that tunnel quite yet. So now I just have to try and get that shifter up on top of there and bolt that down. Once that's in, I can throw my cross member in and get to the starter and all that other fun stuff. But that transmission's in there, bolted to the bell housing, and like I say, haven't had to do any modifications to the tunnel quite yet, but look at how tight that is up in there. I don't know how high I'm sitting in comparison to where that cross member is going to sit. I might be jacked up. There might be lots of room, but I doubt it. So I'm going to slowly remove or lower that transmission jack down, see how much room I can get in there, and see if I can squeak that shifter up in there, and then stick my bell house, or sorry, the cross member back in, and then I can get to hooking everything up. So that was a battle. I'm sweating, but you can see up in there, get my phone right up in there. Looks like I'm lined up pretty straight with that shifter there as well. So yeah, bit of a battle, but it's in there. Okay, so I just wanted to show that this modern driveline shifter that I've got actually does come apart. So rather than try and squeeze it in there, I can get my plate up in there. Those are the 6 bolts. Gonna throw some Loctite on there, make sure that this is over the proper end that I want it. These are reversible. And then from up top, I can screw this down, and it's pretty much just straight in on that guy there. So make sure that that's okay. So I should be able to fasten that in up top. So all I need to do is get that plate on there, fastened nice and snug from down below. And then from up top, I can hit that or toss that guy in there. So those bolts, and then this guy will slip on top for my shifter handle. So this guy, I'll get that in, tightened up. I can get the rest, these 4 bolts, through this guy up top, through that hole that I cut for my shifter. I should be pretty damn close on how tight it is to that guy, so we'll see when we get it up there. So just show you, because it is so tight up in here. This should line up, that hole should line up bang on. I've measured it a million times. So I'm gonna throw that shifter plate back on top there, if you can see it. And then from up top through that hole, I can get my 4 screws on there. But first things first, I'm just gonna throw this plate back over where the shifter is there. Then I'm gonna find out my realized height on where that transmission is gonna sit if I need to modify that floor anymore. So I'm gonna throw this cross member in next after that plate. Then everything's kind of settled, and then I can start hooking stuff up. So that shifter plate in first, and then I'll tidy up the rest from the top.